Okay. I can do that. Trying something new. It's a mess back here. Thanks for waiting. Put that in. Bring that up. That over. How is that? I hope the audio is working. I will start out at the top. This is not sponsored, but Joby sent me the Wavo Air. I'm going to say Wavo until I hear otherwise. But it's a wireless lav system that works with my smartphone. So if you're here and you can hear me, please let me know, because there's no way to monitor this, and that's really frustrating. But I've used microphone systems from Deity. I used the Deity Pocket, and I've used the Rode Wireless Go system. And both of these systems I was let down by. The Rode microphone that I used was first generation, so it may have come along since then. But the Deity, I think I had a faulty unit. There was like this high-pitched squeal no matter what I did, even if it was muted, like something with the transmission that never went away. And when I reached out to support, they said that I should try it with a different transmitter. And I reached back out and said, how do I get a different transmitter? And then they never responded, and I sent them 10. Every week for 10 weeks, I sent them an email saying, hey, how do I get a different transmitter? Do you want me to buy another unit? Will I be able to return it? Never heard anything ever again. And I'm not surprised. I don't mean to dump on Aperture, but they're the one company that I've been burned 3 times by. Deity is part of Aperture somehow. I don't fully understand it, but apparently they share an ethos to their customer support. But here I am. So if you can hear me, fantastic. Somebody say something. I don't mean to beg for a comment. I just want to know that the audio is working and sounds okay. But we're back in the basement studio. It's the day after Christmas. And I had this thought today. I was reminded of something that Adam Savage said in a video. So often I'm reminded of things that Adam Savage has said. But I'm reminded by something he said in a video where when he's done with a project, there's this predictable wave of depression. And it's unavoidable. And he was saying, even if it is avoidable, he doesn't want to avoid it. It's a part of the process. And when you've been working for weeks and months on something and it's over, there are inevitably not just emotions with that, but chemicals in your body and adrenaline that's adjusted to the work that you've been doing and building up to these things. And then suddenly it's all gone. And in the shift from working mode to not working mode on that project, even if you're going right into something else, there's stuff that changes in you, and it's really understandable to have a wave of depression. And depression may be extreme for an extreme label for what you may be feeling, but for a lot of people, there's a lower energy, a sadness, sort of a weight that comes with it. And I was reminded of this today because I sort of have this this trifecta going on of things coming to an end, like big things. But after months, I finished the first drafts of all the segments of the kids show, and I got feedback from my partner on it. And so there's been this like lead up to that for months, and suddenly we're there. And now it's in this other phase of like, okay, well, now we need to start making some changes and bring in some other people and some other eyes. And but with that, like I've been working, and then there's just nothing to do right now on it. And it feels different and it feels weird. And I feel what Adam Savage is talking about. I feel this depression, this kind of down feeling in the wake of that big phase of the project. And simultaneously, the holiday season has come to an end. And in our family, we celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas. So we had this Hanukkah was like a week before Christmas, with this long, lovely holiday season. And My son is 4 this year. He's almost 4.5. And if you have kids that are older than that, you know it's a magical time with the holidays where they start to understand things a little bit more and they're more into it. And watching him want to buy gifts and think about what people would want and his relatives and wanting to spend time with family and being excited about his own gifts and experience and cookies and lighting the Hanukkah candles. There's so many things going on. There's such a wonderful energy to the holiday season. And it too, on December 26th, poof. You go from where you can't escape Christmas music to where it is absolutely everywhere. And it was my wife who said, like, is our son gonna have like a come down, not a letdown, but like where we've been riding this energy leading up to Christmas, 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 and then it's just gone. And yeah, he felt that. Today was a different day for him, but I felt it too. It was a different day for me. And it's tough to try to give him that space to let him know, like, hey, it's okay to feel that way. It's normal to feel that way. Don't be upset about feeling that way, but also don't try to not feel that way. That's it's a bummer, but it's okay, and it's kind of a necessary thing. You need to feel that emotion on the other side of a climax like that. And so for me, I'm also going through that and going back to that same place where like I'm resisting and I'm trying to overcome it before it becomes too much, or whatever these things are, and leaving myself the space to feel these things. And then simultaneously, I mentioned grief a couple weeks ago, and I'm still dealing with that. And anyone who's had loss of any kind leading up to the holidays, it's different. And again, that excitement, that energy kind of moves you along. There's momentum to that. And then suddenly it's just gone, and you're left with a lot of those emotions, but with none of the adrenaline, none of that momentum. And so I find myself once again in this spot where I'm just sort of I just feel like I ran to the top of this cliff, and like a cartoon, like you run out over the edge and you look around and you put your hand down past your feet, and turns out there's no ground there, and you're gonna fall, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that image is where I find myself right now, where it's been going, and now we're just slamming on the brakes and running past, and it's coming. The hit's coming. But knowing it's coming doesn't make it any easier. And again, just because you know it's coming doesn't mean that you should try to avoid it. And that's where I so often find myself. And when I'm doing these multiple projects stacked on top of each other, so often there's there's 6 cliffs I'm running toward at any given moment, and just because I'm still firmly planted on ground on 5 of them, I've still got one where I'm dangling off the edge, and that affects me through all the rest of it. And internalizing that and trying to make that part of the process is tough, because it's a natural thing to want to distance yourself from. It's a natural thing to want to resist, and yet it's bad. It's bad, and we know it's coming. Why wouldn't you want to resist it? Why wouldn't you work to try to cut it off at the pass, or to avoid it altogether? But there isn't a way to do that. And this is that classic saying of, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. And to say, yeah, at the end of a project, you're gonna feel a huge swing in energy and chemicals and momentum, and your mental health is going to be affected by all of that. Enjoy it, sit with it, and don't try to run from it, because the further you run from it, the worse it's going to be. And that's where I'm finding myself tonight, is sitting in the denouement of these projects, of the holidays, of a year that was full of trials and tests, and at the same time also my paternity leave is coming to an end. I forgot about that when I was writing this video earlier, but yeah, I haven't done any real work. I've been working on my passion projects and on the kids show and stuff, but like haven't done any client work since October. And that's an absolute privilege to get to do that. But it's almost over. And with that comes this adjustment. And now when I started, I had a 2.5-month-old daughter, and now I have a 5-month-old daughter, and it's different, and the challenges are different. And that's daunting. And knowing that that's coming too, there's this whole series of things that there's so much to anticipate, so much to have to be anxious about. And that's on top of this completely ungrounded feeling of the end of the holidays, the end of the first big phase of a project, the end of relationships, the end of the year. And that instinct to tense up and try to hang on and just get through this. That instinct is strong, but ultimately it's not beneficial to the process and to each of these things. And by trying to avoid it, we rob ourselves of the complete experience of any of these situations. And leaning in isn't easy, but it's what needs to be done here, and it's what I'm trying to remind myself to do. And as I sit here with all these things, this is what I've been talking about by design, but also there's so much to be excited about. There's so much to be excited about already. Trying to find work, to say paternity leave is over is one thing. That means that I need to start trying to find work, which is a part of the work process, but a hard part. And while at 8:30, before I was supposed to go live at 8:30, at 8:30 I was texting with my buddy Dane, who's one of my favorite producers to work with, about dates in January to film. And what a privilege that is. What a wonderful, fortunate circumstance that is, where as I'm trying to come back online and start earning revenue again for my company, that there is the potential of work. That's huge. That's awesome. That's exciting. I'm very grateful for that. And I don't think I would appreciate that as much if it weren't for this same sinking feeling on the other side, and these extremes of needing that pit to feel that, needing that valley to experience that mountain, and the concept of the second mountain after that, and knowing that you got to go down between each one. If you could just walk across a bridge from mountaintop to mountaintop, it wouldn't be as meaningful. And it's that climb that makes these projects fulfilling, that makes the holidays exciting, that makes your relationships exciting, and makes them devastating when they're lost. And so as I'm excited about all the things to come, I'm forcing myself to sit with that polar opposite emotion of the emptiness, the darkness, the down nature that comes after events, holidays, and relationships and projects have come to an end. So that's where I'm sitting right now. There was a comment that I saw earlier, and it disappeared too quickly for me to read, and because of my setup, which is just my phone, it is out of reach for me to, I can't climb across this table to get to it. So I don't know what it said. I'm sorry, but thanks for the comment, and I'll respond in the comments. But thank you for spending a few minutes with me at the end of this year. Some exciting things coming up. There's videos being posted this Thursday, next Thursday, and a few others in between there. There's going to be a lot going on because there's a lot happening in my life, and I'm doing my best to share parts of the process here. Most notably, I was given palette knives for painting, and I talked about this. I don't think I showed this, actually. No, I recorded this and hit F5. You're awesome. Thank you. So I've been spray painting, and I have a whole video about this that's being posted next Thursday. And on top of this, I wanted to start doing like the thick, heavy palette knife painting. And so I was given some palette knives, and then today I went and got a handful of colors of paint. And I'm just enjoying this and going through this process of exploring other creative mediums. I'm a video producer. This is what I love doing. This is what I'm here to do. But by diving into spray paint, I was given 2 cans of Marble Effect spray paint by my in-laws for Christmas, which I'm very excited about. By exploring spray painting and acrylic painting with palette knives and these different things that I'm doing, this whole series of like creative exercises, I keep being astonished by how helpful there are things in spray painting which you wouldn't think are at all related to video production, but they are. And I'm learning and I'm growing as a video producer over these past few months without doing much video. And with as a short example, and I get into this in the video that's coming up, the lesson of patience in spray paint is unlike anything I've experienced before, because I can be quick with video. I can shoot something, I can put it on my computer, I can edit it, I can go. And if you don't let the paint dry, or if you rush the drying process, that will change the product. It won't cure properly. It'll be, and sometimes you can use that to cool effect. Like the inside of this, like where that pink is flaking off, is where I tried to dry it quickly with a heat gun, and it made it bubble up and crack off. And what I'm realizing with all this is just the lessons in creativity and in trying stuff and in attempting things and knowing that you could judge yourself for what you create. And you could say, I'm not a spray painter, I couldn't do that. What am I doing with palette? I can't make anything realistic. I'm not good with it. And today I put my first paint on a canvas and it looks silly, and it was just sort of a test. But that idea of like, I'm just gonna make a test, and at some point I have to make my first painting, which probably isn't going to be a masterpiece. And I don't know that I will ever create a masterpiece, but I have to put paint on the canvas. And if I don't, then there is no progress. There's no learning. And I think for so long I told myself that I couldn't do these things and I shouldn't do these things. And I left myself in a spot where then with video, I was that same message was coming over of like, well, I shouldn't try to do something like that because I've never done that before. I probably couldn't do it well. And instead, I'm doing it. And I think the kids show is such a cool example of like, what a massive undertaking that I think I could quickly tell myself I'm not qualified for, and I am not capable of producing a children's show. And yet, I put some paint on a plate and I scraped it with a knife and I put a stroke on the canvas, and in the same way, made some phone calls, got some people together, asked for some favors, got a crew, got lawyers, and suddenly we have a kids show. I've edited the first episode. There's 4 separate video segments to each episode. And the rough drafts are all done, and it's insane to think that we've gotten there only because of all these teeny tiny steps and favors and the generosity of so many people along the way. And so there's a lot that I'm excited about, and there's a lot that's coming, but a part of this process and to really learn as much as you can from every relationship, every holiday, every passion project, every work project, anything that you're taking, you gotta ride it out all the way. And usually that includes some sort of down energy period at the end of it, which you can harness to learn to appreciate things differently, to set yourself up differently the next time around. But whatever you do, don't avoid it, because there's lessons there that you will regret one day having not learned if you do find some way to skip that part of the process. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you so much for spending a couple minutes with me. I sincerely appreciate it. It's crazy to think that you would spend any of your time with me, and it is not an honor that I take lightly. So have a great day or night or whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye. Let's go find out what those comments said. This wireless mic thing is nice. If it did work, I assume, because there weren't a bunch of comments about how no one can hear me, that at least part of it worked.